Hello everybody, welcome to Shogi Ramen TV. いらっしゃいませ. Let's enjoy Shogi with me. Today, I want to share this game from the NHK Tournament 2026. Sente, Kei Honda, and Gote, Tomoki Yokoyama. And this game was Ibisha vs Furibisha, and this is very exciting until end. Let's enjoy. Okay, then let's start. Sente, push rook pawn, and open bishop, and open bishop, and exchanging the bishop soon, and bring the silver, and bring the silver, and move the silver, and move the rook to the mukai bisha. This way it's called direct mukai bisha. This is one of the popular furibisha strategies in bishop exchange case. For the new player, I will explain the case of the bishop drop. Like this position, it looks nice bishop, but there is a counter. Dropping the bishop here. Of course, this bishop can take the pawn, but in this position, moving the gold is a nice defense. And this promoted bishop cannot move anymore. So in this position, getting the gold is the way. And dropping the gold to capture the bishop. So finally, it will be the just exchange of the bishop. But the Gote's formation is very difficult to play. Okay, then back to this position. So the Sente didn't drop the bishop and castling. Also Gote castling. Moving the king here and moving the king. And pushing h pawn and push back the h pawn. And pushing this pawn and moving the king and bring the silver and creating the minnow. And in this position, Sente's way was interesting way. Bring the silver. This is very rare move, and I have never seen because Gote is already prepared to attack from here. So this silver will work for the defense of this area, but this silver move is not work for the defense. But for example, if the Gote push this pawn, and in this case, this attacking this pawn is a nice counter way against this bogey. This is just an example. This kind of the counter way would happen. So this silver looks just for the offense, but this silver works for the defense against the bogey. So this is very interesting way. Okay, then let's continue. And in this position, Gote push this pawn. This is also interesting way. And against this pawn, Sente has a difficulty to use this knight. So this pawn has a meaning. And against this pawn, Sente move the gold to complete the castle. And in this position, Gote move the gold. This is very interesting way. And this is a preparation of the rook exchange from here. So for example, this kind of the situation could happen if the gold is here. Dropping the rook is very critical. And moving the gold, this position is very interesting. Normally this position would be the typical way, but in this case, dropping the rook here could happen in after exchange the rook. So in this case, moving the gold, this position is the nice way. It looks strange, but the nice way. So this gold means the next Gote wants to exchange the rook. So Sente drops the bishop to attack to this line. So I thought Gote needed to defend against this bishop, but Gote push this pawn even if the bishop is here. This was very strong way. And exchanging the rook, take, and this bishop can take lance, so that it looks good for the sente, but the gote also can drop the rook to take the knight and lance in the future, so that this would be even. And in this position, sente drop the pawn here, and instead of this pawn, moving the promoted bishop here for the future edge attack would be the nice way, but the sente chose this way, and the knight escape here and promoted pawn and escape the goal and move back the promoted pawn to attack to the silver and also create the space of the rook. And in this position, gote drop the bishop here. So this kind of the game, dropping the bishop in the edge sometimes very nice move. So for example, in this position, this bishop will work for the offense and also will work for the defense. So this kind of the bishop, dropping the bishop is very strong. And against this bishop, goal, escape, like this. And this escape would be a bit risky because the bishop can attack in this position. So dropping the lance would be the best way for the defense point of view, but the sente want to keep the lance in hand, then escape the gold with risk. And in this position, gote push this pawn. This pushing pawn was very difficult way and a very interesting way. Next, pushing pawn again. And sente drop the rook here, but this gold is connected by bishop. And pushing this pawn. And silver cannot move back because of the bishop here, so taking this pawn is a normal way. And in this position, in the future, this bishop cannot move this position because of the silver is already here. So this is one of the meaning of the pushing pawn. And take knight and move back the promoted pawn. This is attacking to the silver and also attacking to the gold. And in this position, sacrifice of the bishop was very nice move. And this means that this is not just a sacrifice and capture the rook. So this rook cannot move and captured. Take and take and take silver. So let's see that this position, sente has many materials. And it looks sente has an advantage, but by the shogi engine, this position is completely even because the double rook is very strong. Even if the material point of view, sente has advantage, but as a game, this is even. Very interesting. In this position, gote drop the rook here and dropping the gold for the defense and dropping the pawn. This is second meaning of the pushing this pawn. So gote wants to use the pawn in this center line, take, and in this position, if gote has one more pawn, gote wants to drop the pawn here, and the next sacrifice of the rook is very strong attack. But in this position, there are no pawn. Take the lance and move back the silver for the defense of this position. So gote try to attack by another way, dropping the knight, and next promote here. Take knight and promote. Escape the gold and attacking by the promoted knight, and double rook is very strong. And move back the silver. I like this castle. Very tiny castle, compact castle. I'm not sure the name, but this is very pretty castle. And in this position, Gote drop the lance. This is very nice way. This is for the attack. For example, dropping the gold and the lance. This is very strong attack. And also this lance is defended that this kind of the bishop attack. This bishop and knight attack is very strong, so the dropping the lance has two meanings. So this is very nice drop. And against this lance, Sente defend by the knight. And this knight is not just a defense. And in the future, this knight can attack to the king with next knight. And take gold, take, and dropping the gold. This is very strong attack. If take this gold, sacrifice of the rook and dropping the gold here to break this castle. But in this position, Sente has a chance to counter using the double knight like this. Take and take. So Minno castle is very weak against this kind of the knight attack, and this king is almost dead. And the only safe way is this position. The other position is very risky or already checkmated. And after that, taking the gold is nice way. Of course, Gote sacrifice of the rook and dropping the gold. This attack is very strong, but not checkmate. Escape the king. So the king can escape like this. And in this position, Gote's king is already under the threatmate. So the next cent can capture this king. So the Gote has to defend. And in this position, moving the silver is the way. Dropping the silver would be the better way, but moving the silver is other way of the defense. And against this silver, dropping the silver here. This is very nice way in this kind of the game. This silver can support this knight and also can be work for the king's defense. So this kind of the silver is very useful in the end game. Okay, from here, Gote drop the knight to attack to this silver, and dropping the rook is very nice way because the Gote has no pawns. If Gote has pawn, dropping the pawn here is very easy way. But in this position, only way will be the dropping the silver here. And against this silver, Sente's silver escape. But of course, Gote can take this knight. And Sente drop the lance here. And in this position, Gote drop the knight. This knight was very nice move. This is worked for the defense against the rook and also attacking to the silver. And this knight or this way will work for this position to capture the Sente's king. So this dropping knight was very nice way. And against the knight, Sente took the lance. And in this position, the best move by the Shogi engine was taking the silver to capture the king next, but it looks very risky for the Gote because of the Sente has many materials. So in this position, Gote chose another way. Take the king and taking the silver. This is check. So Sente has to escape. And Sente chose this position. Move back is another possibilities. But Sente chose. This king looks almost dead, but still survive. And take the king, and king escape, and take the silver. So in this position, finally, Sente's king cannot defend anymore. So the Sente has to capture the Gote's king. And Sente tried, dropping the gold, take, and take, and take by gold. So let's see that this position, if the silver is not here, Sente can drop the knight, and it's very easy tsume. So the Gote's this silver is very nice position. And Sente tried to checkmate from here, sacrifice of the rook, but this was a bad move. So by the engine, dropping the silver is the only way to capture the king, but it's very difficult to judge in 30 seconds. But this rook looks also very strong way. Let's see, dropping the silver, take, and take pawn. Dropping the silver, and dropping the knight. Escape the king, and dropping the silver. There are many traps. If you escape the king, this king will be captured. Only way is taking the silver. And take this silver, take, and dropping the bishop, and take knight. And in this position, Sente finally resigned. But for example, from here, dropping the silver is a very nice way. If take, move the promoted pawn, and escape, and attacking by the promoted pawn. And this is checkmated. So against this silver, only way is to escape the king here. And in this position, this king can survive. Okay, so let's see that this position by the Shogi engine, dropping the silver was the only way to capture the king. Take, and dropping the bishop is the way, and dropping the lance, take, and dropping the lance here. So Gote has no pawns in this position. Gote needs to drop something, for example like this. But in this case, Gote's king will be captured. Let's see as an example, dropping the silver here, and escape the king, dropping the gold. If escape this position, dropping the knight. Only way is this position, and dropping the knight, escape, and captured. But this is very difficult checkmate in the 30 seconds. Okay, thank you for watching this game. I think this game was very interesting, and there are many things to learn.